The Soccer Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Get up to a $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at underdogfantasy.com and use that promo code SGPN. That's underdogfantasy.com and the promo code SGPN. You are listening to your FIFA Club World Cup show here on the Soccer Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network as we have reached the knockout rounds. We are now at the round of 16. You can follow the Soccer Gambling Podcast on X at SGP Soccer. That's at SGP Soccer, and be sure that you do. You can follow the Sports Gambling Podcast Network on X at the SGP Network. That's at the SGP Network, and also at Gambling Podcast. That's at Gambling Podcast. NASCAR's in-season tournament is here and we're running a free contest. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR contest for your chance to win a $200 gift card. And be sure to subscribe to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Be sure to download the SGPN app. It is really the easiest and most convenient way to make sure you never miss any of our free picks or any of our free pods. And if you're looking for additional free picks and free pods from me, download YouTube and be sure to subscribe to the Lock Betting YouTube channel, the new Soccer Gambling Podcast YouTube channel, and wherever you get your podcasts, search for Lock Betting. This will give you bonus content, bonus podcasts, bonus videos from Lock Betting and from the Soccer Gambling Podcast as well. So if you're looking for that free additional content from me, that's the way to get it. But if you are looking for my official plays that accumulate towards my tracked and transparent spreadsheet, then you need to head over to lockbetting.com. That's where you can sign up for the service that has provided members with 144 months in a row of transparent and tracked profit. If you are good at maths, you'll know that 144 months adds up to exactly 12 years. That's how long the service has existed, and that's how long it's gone without a single losing month. Never a single losing month in the history of the service. Yes, we have had losing days. We've had even losing weeks. We had one recently. This isn't a miracle service. I'm not using Grey Sports Almanac. That's not a thing. But what I am doing is delivering a profit every single month, and I'm doing it with sensible bankroll management. You can look through the spreadsheets and see the type of bets we do, the sports we bet on, and most importantly, how we sensibly manage a bankroll, getting you there, making betting accessible for anybody with a disposable income. In fact, I've made it even easier for you guys rather than opening up Google Docs, which is what you would need to do if you look through the lockbetting.com website. I've now posted everything onto social media, on the X account and onto Instagram. Instagram is the easiest place to look at. It's the hub for everything we do. The Instagram is at lockbetting. And if you go through it, you can see the latest spreadsheets posted on the page. You can see the latest three pinned to the top, so you can just look at them literally through screenshots. Just scroll across. So your lazy ass has no excuse not to do its due diligence and research when everything there is posted via screenshots. Every single play giving you a clear indication of what we do. These are all verified by existing members, including a monthly recap. And as I said, it is a hub for everything we do. So you'll also find betting information videos, free plays, and there's a place to contact me if you have any questions. And if for some reason you are not on Instagram, you can instead contact me on X. I've already given you that, but here it is again, at SGP Soccer. That's at SGP Soccer. I'm tracked and transparent. I'm actually encouraging you. I'm telling you, do your research about this service. Go and do that due diligence. Have a look. Ask questions before you sign up. This is legit. This isn't some fraud service promising you a dream. This isn't some monopoly money bullshit like everybody else on X. This is tracked and transparent and verified, and I'm asking you to look through those spreadsheets, and I'm looking for you to ask me any questions that you may have before you sign up and invest in this service. And when you sign up for this service, you are investing in this service. You are investing in sports betting, because we don't do gambling, we do investing. We don't tell people just to go for it and that hedging is for pussies and things like that. No, this is an investment service. We have some futures out at the moment for the Club World Cup. We're looking to hedge in some of those plays. We're looking to hedge in what we do for Wimbledon. We'll be dropping the Wimbledon Futures podcast in the next 24 hours over on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, so be sure to check it out. Currently, you will find 2 episodes of The Fight Show right now covering boxing, UFC and WWE across those 2 episodes. So let's move on with these knockout rounds. I'm actually going to split the knockout rounds unevenly. I'm going to do 5 games on this show, and I'm going to leave myself 3 for the next episode. This is just so I can give myself some breathing room after what is going to be a heavy handicapping weekend. We have loads of combat sport, as I said, WWE, boxing and UFC. Well, I'll have to watch these knockout rounds, which will involve late nights as well. And I'm also going to have to handicap all of the Wimbledon futures and do all the work for round 1, which is a heavy round. Lots of matches happening for round 1. So lots of work for me to do. So I'm going to give myself that breathing room by just covering an extra game on this show and making it a little bit uneven. The round of 16 action begins on Saturday afternoon as we are looking at an all-Brazilian tie between Palmeiras and Botafogo. And I imagine based on their league positions that Palmeiras are the favourites. Also, Palmeiras are a group winner, unlike Botafogo, who finished second in a group, even though they did pick up the upset win of the tournament so far by beating Paris Saint-Germain. Palmeiras are the 6-5 favourite on the money line to get it done here. It's 21-10 on the draw, and it's 5-2 on Botafogo. Palmeiras are the 4-7 favourites to qualify, with Botafogo priced up here at 11-8. I think we're going to begin here with your typical cagey knockout round. Brazilian football has changed a lot over the years, where it used to just be flair football, street football, front foot football. We now see a lot of teams playing more defensively, and that has been a good strategy for Brazilian teams in this competition so far, as they have played on the counter and have had positive results, particularly against the European teams. And that's the way that Botafogo implemented a strategy to beat Paris Saint-Germain. And for me, they're definitely a live dog coming into this one, particularly when the head-to-head record says that Botafogo have lost just one of their 7 meetings with Palmeiras in particular. And they have actually been more impressive, in my opinion. They're the side who picked up that win against Paris Saint-Germain. So even though Palmeiras are a group winner, they picked up 5 points en route to winning what was an easier group, whilst this Botafogo team had 6 points in their group. And their only loss came inside the last 5 minutes against Atletico Madrid. So I'm going to look past the Brazilian league positions in the Brazilian league table. I'm going to look at Botafogo's head-to-head record against Palmeiras as of late, where Palmeiras have struggled to beat them. I'm going to look at the fact that Botafogo have won 5 of the last 6 matches. And I think we're going to see ourselves a tight affair here. Botafogo's last 7 games have all been decided by a single goal. I expect this to be no different. I expect it to be tight and cagey. I'm high on the under here. As I said, your typical knockout game. Under 2.5 goals is available at 8-13. So a short price. And for that reason, we will look elsewhere. We will take the value on Botafogo to qualify in what I think is a 50-50 tie. And if you shop around for Botafogo to qualify, you can find a 6-4 plus 150 at some books, although more widely available at the 11-8 I already quoted here for this one. Up next, we move across to the second game happening on Saturday, and this is where we see a Premier League team in action in Chelsea as they take on Benfica. Chelsea are a favourite here at 6-5 on the money line. It's 5-2 on the draw, and Benfica here are a 2-1 underdog. The qualification prices see Chelsea priced up at 8-13, with Benfica here at 6-5. Again, I can make a strong case for an under here. Under 2.5 goals for this game is priced up as a plus money selection, and I don't really understand that because whilst there might be some data metrics out there that say this will be a high-scoring game, not enough to really take the over for me, and not enough for the over to be such a short price. And also, you have to factor in this is knockout football. You lose and you go home. So I think that adds an element of tightness and caginess to it as well. And also, let's factor in the heat, particularly in that earlier game. I didn't really talk about it, but that game between the two Brazilian sides, that's going to be played in really horrible heat. And this one's probably going to be not too different. We're not going to really see things massively cool down by 4 p.m. So we're still going to have a lot of heat and humidity here when it comes to this game between Benfica and Chelsea, which is why I'm going to take this down to under 3. because I only lose money if there are 4 goals in this game. So I think I'm getting some real value on the under 3 here at the price of 45 minus 125 for this game. As I said, there might be data metrics here that lean this one towards the over, but I certainly don't think that they are strong enough to see the over being as short as it is, and that leans me towards the under. We're looking at a Benfica side who have made themselves very difficult to beat. They are unbeaten in 90 minutes across the last 16 matches, although 4 of Benfica's last 6 matches have actually been draws across the 90-minute periods. And unless this is a 2-2 draw, if this is another draw, you are looking a lot more at the 0-0 scoreline or the 1-1 scoreline in this one. Chelsea come into this one having actually kept 4 clean sheets in their last 6 matches. So when you factor all that in, when you factor in that Benfica are unbeaten inside 90 minutes in the last 16, when you factor in that Chelsea have kept 4 clean sheets in the last 6, when you look at the fact that the Portuguese side have played out 4 draws in the last 6 games, when you look at the energy zapping heat at the time this is going to be played, all of that for me factors in, and I think it points towards a low scoring game. So I'm super high on the under 3. We have protection as well. If we see 3 goals, we lose money only if there are 4 goals scored in this one. And I think that's a really good position for us to be in. I'm going to take the under 3 here for this one between Benfica and Chelsea. Moving on to Paris Saint-Germain versus Inter Miami next. This is said to be the tie of the round for many, although not on paper when you look at those odds. Obviously, PSG are a very, very strong favourite to qualify from what looks like a mismatch. You do have the Messi factor. It's Lionel Messi who obviously gets all of the headlines playing against his former club. So this is one that's going to draw a lot of attention. And before we break it down, I'm going to take a quick pause here to tell you guys to head over to mybookie.ag. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. That's your place to bet on every sport, including this FIFA Club World Cup, WNBA, MLB, golf, and of course your football futures for the upcoming season. You can also bet on the WWE. It's an answer to a question I get asked a lot. Billy, where do you bet on your WWE stuff? I do a podcast for it. You can currently hear a Night of Champions preview over on the Fight Show, and you can bet all that stuff over at mybookie.ag. So head over there, head over to mybookie.ag, use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply, but that's mybookie.ag and the promo code SGPN. Let me also tell you guys here about the Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football giveaway. If you haven't been to Circa, you need to go. It's just there recently. It really is the home of sports betting. If you like watching your sports at a sportsbook, they have a massive sportsbook, the biggest one in Vegas, and they also have Stadium Swim, which is something that you need to experience. And you might get to experience it by winning this contest, the Ultimate Fantasy Football contest. It gives you a chance for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas, get treated like VIPs during your stay with a limo ride to and from the airport and a 5K spend at Stadium Swim for you and 11 of your league mates. If you don't have 11 mates, shoot me a DM on X. I'm available to come out and party with you guys. And even if you don't win, you have a chance of getting 15% off Circa properties by using the promo code SGPN15. That's SGP15, not SGPN for this one. That's SGP15. But take advantage of your last chance to win the Ultimate Fantasy Football giveaway and head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa to enter. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA to enter. Let me also utilise this pause to tell you guys that Underdog Best Ball Mania is happening all summer long, and they're giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football, and Underdog is also a great place to play Pick'em, and you can head over to Underdog Fantasy now to claim your special Pick'em first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. Head over to underdogfantasy.com and use our promo code SGPN15 and get yourself involved with Underdog Fantasy. One more time, that's underdogfantasy.com and our promo code SGPN. And finally, let me close out here by telling you guys about Rhythm. You've all heard us talk about Rhythm before, and of course you now know they've dropped their game-changing feature, which is Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has delivered a high ROI. These Power Trends are updated daily. They're exclusive to Rhythm, so no touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. And you can try out these data-backed bets by heading over over to Rhythm, downloading the Rhythm app and checking out power trends and betting smarter today. We're giving you a 7-day free trial, and all you need to do to get it is to head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Rhythm is spelled RITHMM. That's RITHMM. So that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Rhythm. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. So we move on and we pick up where we left off. We're looking at the tie of the round as far as publicity goes here, because everybody will have their eyes on Lionel Messi playing against his old club, Paris Saint-Germain. PSG, they are a significant favourite here at 1-4 minus 400 in a 90-minute period. It's 6-1 on the draw, and it's 11-1 here in Miami. And Paris Saint-Germain are obviously an overwhelming favourite to qualify overall here at 1-9, with Inter Miami priced up here at 6-1. So not too much of a chance that Messi continues on here in the competition. Of course, FIFA will be absolutely delighted that Messi's playing in a knockout stage and that we have this big glamour tie with him playing against his old club. Unfortunately for Messi and for FIFA and for neutrals, I do think this is going to be quite a convincing and comprehensive victory for Paris Saint-Germain. And I look for them to win, and to win by margin, and to cover a minus 1.5 Asian handicap line. They could even win this with a clean sheet. Despite the fact they lost to Botafogo, they've actually only allowed opponents 5 shots on target during their 3-club World Cup outing. So Botafogo were lucky to convert and then be able to park the bus, something Inter Miami won't be able to do. They've also lost all their 3 group games on expected goals. So that's not great when you're coming up against this Paris Saint-Germain team, who are the best team in Europe, best team in the world, and who come into this one having won with a clean sheet in 5 of the last 6 competitive games as well. So I do believe that Paris Saint-Germain will win by margin, and that could be aided by a clean sheet. Or it could just see Paris Saint-Germain scoring 3 or 4 goals here against an Inter Miami defence who are often wide open. They conceded a bunch of goals coming into this competition. They relinquished a lead late on against Palmeiras from 2-0 up. They blew it, and that would have allowed them to actually win the group, which would have put them in a position to avoid Paris Saint-Germain. And now we are here, and they're not playing Botafogo, which would have been much more winnable for them, although I do think they would have lost to both Botafogo and Paris Saint-Germain. So in that situation, you may as well have the glamour tie and go out to PSG instead. But I look for PSG to win convincingly, to cover a minus 1.5 Asian handicap line, which should be aided with a clean sheet. And that selection is available for you here at the price of 7-10 for this one. Apologies that I haven't covered this one more extensively, because obviously there's a lot of hype going into it. But for me, it's just not a game that warrants a whole load of handicapping. For me, it's a comfortable win for Paris Saint-Germain. They've been giving themselves, well, it looked like they'd been given a nice draw. It looked like their route through would have been very, very comfortable until Bayern Munich relinquished top spot in the group. Bayern Munich didn't win their group. And now we got Flamengo versus Bayern Munich, and the winner of that will play Paris Saint-Germain instead of it being Flamengo versus Benfica. So originally, it looked like PSG's route through to a semi-final would have been to get past Inter Miami, to get past the winner of Flamengo and Bayern Munich, and then they would have been looking ahead to Real Madrid, who they still are looking ahead to potentially now. But it's obviously got a lot tougher, and the other side of the draw looks a lot more easier for whoever comes through it, and that looks likely to be Man City now, who looks very impressive in their last game against Juve when they won the group, but they'll still have to overcome the likes of Chelsea and Inter Milan if they are to get through to this Club World Cup final. So we'll talk more about that on the next episode when we do cover City, who have now been installed as the outright favourites to win this competition. We'll finish up though here with our 2 remaining games, and we'll look at that game between Flamengo and Bayern Munich, where Bayern Munich are the 7-10 favourites. On the money line to win this one, it's 3-1 on the draw, and it's 4-1 here on Flamengo. Flamengo, the best team in Brazil at the moment, so definitely a live dog here, and especially when you saw the way that they came back to beat Chelsea. They do come into this one as the group winners, and I do think they will give Bayern some problems, which will include scoring a goal here in this game. This is a side of impressed so far, and they have scored in 7 successive games, while Bayern Munich have conceded in each of their last 2 fixtures. Obviously, it's a no-brainer for me that Bayern Munich will score in this game. And ultimately, I do think that they will go through. Bayern Munich's upset defeat against Benfica has been their only defeat in the last 10 games. And they were absolutely dominant in that game. Company probably looked past Benfica and rotated too many players for that first half. He then brought on some of the big guns. And they did create enough chances to probably win 2 games, but weren't able to convert. Joshua Kimmich's goal being disallowed via VAR was bullshit. But I think Bayern Munich make Flamengo pay here and score enough goals to get over the line in the 90-minute period. But I do believe that we will see both teams score en route to Bayern Munich going through. Keep an eye in particular on Michael Olise. He's a massive 4-1 to score any time in this game, but he has 7 goals and 6 assists in his last 7 appearances for Bayern Munich, and he has been their best player in this tournament so far. So I think that's huge odds on him to find the back of the net. But ultimately, I think Bayern Munich get through. But BTTS is my favourite selection here for this game, available at the price of 3-4 here for this one. And we now move on to Monday, where, as I said, I'm going to cover 5 games here, and I'm going to leave Man City versus Al Hilal, Real Madrid versus Juve, and Borussia Dortmund versus Monterrey, which is a really important game for us for our futures for the next episode, just to give me a little bit of breathing room this weekend so I can fully concentrate on Wimbledon without getting without needing to desperately get out a World Cup podcast. Don't forget, my Wimbledon coverage begins on Sunday night, where I drop a podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network feed, and then you can get all of my Wimbledon plays over at lockbetting.com. This is after I absolutely destroyed the French Open. I'm talking about a futures card where we had 1 losing play and we were nearly winning in that tournament daily. It was an absolute blitz. It was one of the best Grand Slam performances I've ever delivered across the 12 years of lock betting. And I'm a guy who's only ever had 3 losing Grand Slam cards in the history of the lock betting service. I have a record of 43-3 when it comes to winning Grand Slams overall. So if you want to make money on Wimbledon, head over to lockbetting.com and be sure to check out my futures podcast over on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network when it drops. So I'm covering this game next, as I said, to give me that breathing room. We're looking at Inter Milan versus Fluminense, where Inter are a 7-10 favourite on the money line in the 90-minute period. It's 13-5 on the draw. It's 9-2 on Fluminense, and Inter are the 4-11 favourites to qualify, with Fluminense priced up at the best price of 9-4. So what happens here? Brazilian teams have been impressive so far against European teams, but I just picked Bayern Munich to get past Flamengo. And I do lean that Inter Milan will get past Fluminense, but I'm not going to commit to that pick. Instead, I'm going to commit to the under. I like under 2.5 goals here in this game. This is another game that's going to be played in hot conditions at the Bank of America Stadium during this kickoff time. And I think it's going to be a tight and cagey affair. We would have looked at that game between Fluminense and Borussia Dortmund and expected goals, but Fluminense held Borussia Dortmund and Mamelodi Sundown 2 goalless draws. So this is a side who've had 2 0-0 draws in the group stages, and they've seen fewer than 3 goals in 4 of the last 5 in all competitions, while Inter Milan have also seen under 2.5 goals cash in 2 of their 3 group games as well. So I think we have really strong data for under 2.5 goals. I also think we have the situation with this being a knockout game and with the weather as well. Borussia Dortmund were limited to just 3 shots on target and an XG of 0.24 by Fluminense. And I look for them to implement the same tactics here and for them to make themselves difficult to break down for the favourites Inter Milan here in this one. So under 2.5 goals is what I've landed on here for this final game, which is available at the price of 45 minus 125 here for this one. That's it for me and the first part of the Club World Cup round of 16. As I said, I'll be dropping the second show on Monday. Before then, there's loads of other content to get your teeth into. There are 2 episodes of The Fight Show over on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. One of the episodes covers a WWE Night of Champions. The first 30 minutes of that show primarily focuses on CM Punk going to Saudi Arabia. So if you are a wrestling fan, be sure to listen to that part. Otherwise, skip forward if you're just looking for the betting picks to listen to the last 25 minutes of that show. The other episode of The Fight Show looks at UFC and boxing this weekend as Jake Paul returns to a boxing ring, and we also look at the UFC 317 main event. And then also on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, you have my Wimbledon podcast, primarily focusing on the men's draw. But as I've said throughout this show, to get all of my official plays, head over to lockbetting.com. If you're looking for just soccer, there is an alternative to dip your toe in the water. It's patreon.com/soccer sixpack. That is a profitable service that I started this season. It's a way to dip your toe in the water. It's just 6 soccer plays a week. So as you guys know, on the podcast this year, I have reduced my locks. I've reduced my locks and I'm only doing locks now over on the Champions League show and on the EPL show. So if you're missing those locks that you used to get on Scommessa Italia, on the Bundesliga show, on the European show, you can now find those 1 unit plays over on patreon.com/soccer sixpack. This is a service where I simplified things. It's low volume. It's just 6 1-unit plays per week. And it's so simplified. It's only on markets that are available at every book. Because sometimes the complaint I get about American books is I can't find that play. So I don't complicate it with props. You're looking at money lines. You're looking at pick'ems. You're looking at over, unders, BTTS, Asian handicap plays, parlays, plays that are just available at every single sports book. So I can't find this. I can't find that. Will never be an excuse. Good luck with all your bets as always, guys, and thanks for listening.